Hey everybody, it's Q Storm. I'm back with another movie review. Wow, I just got back from seeing Logan. This movie is a perfect example of be careful what you wish for, you may get it. Case in point, I've always wanted to see an R-rated Wolverine movie. Well, I sure got it here. Brutal, violent, and a little depressing. Well, very depressing, at least in my opinion. Logan measures up to the R rating. Sam Peckinpah would watch this and be like, it's a little over the top. Seems like they try to take advantage of the R rating by using the classic expletives, the F word and the S word, every other word in the first couple acts of this film.
2 days on the road, only one meal and hardly any sleep. She's 11, I'm 90.
And it got a little tedious. It's like, okay, fine, so you can curse now. But listen, it's much more than that. It is brutal.
No. No. No.
Holy f***.
Now, let me start off by saying it's not so much a superhero movie as it is a Western. They even reference the classic Western Shane at one point in the film. And this movie clearly has all of the archetypal stereotypes of a Western. Over-the-hill cowboy, the old codger, and the young ingenue take a cross-country trip from Mexico to North Dakota while the bandits are in hot pursuit with a sniffing dog. On the way, they meet a farmer and his family. There's a confrontation with corporate cowboys. A convenience store scene acts as a stand-in for the traditional Western barroom.
Not okay.
All the elements are there. So it really didn't feel like a superhero movie to me. It felt more like The Road, which I know that's not a Western, but in terms of the tone of the film, I mean, The Road to me is one of the most depressing movies ever made. I don't know if I'll ever watch that movie again, but the first scene of this film sets that tone, where we get a Wolverine who not only is reduced to driving a limo for money, he struggles just to fight off a band of common car thieves. Now, even though he prevails, we definitely see how he's slow in his step and he's a shell of the man he once used to be. Then we meet Charles Xavier, a medicated, debilitated old man living in seclusion in an abandoned water tower. His caretaker is Caliban, an albino mutant, a pathetic-looking creature. Just as a side note, Caliban is played by the brilliant actor and writer and co-creator of the BBC version of The Office, a far superior version, as far as I'm concerned, than the US remake. Stephen Merchant, I'm a huge fan of his, but because of his collaborations with the great Ricky Gervais, one of my favorite comics, Merchant gets overlooked in general, in the American market that is, which I think is really unfair. He's proven himself to be very versatile, given here he delivers a dramatic and sympathetic character. Hats off to Mr. Merchant. But moving on, we then have Laura, a feral wild child who barely speaks. She just growls for the most of the movie, and it adds to the somewhat oppressive tone of the film. She's played by Daphne King, and she's the dopest little girl this side of Chloe Grace Moretz's Hit Girl. She is a find. She's able to convey years of torture and anger in one expression. In an early scene, she's in hiding and she's eating a bowl of cereal, and she hears the bad guys approaching the compound where she's hiding out. And she gives this look out of the corner of her eye, and at that moment, you know she is the wrong one to f with. And people are about to get their asses handed to them.
Go get her.
I don't know where the casting agent found this girl, but bravo.
I think I'm in love with her, dude. She looks like she's about 11 years old, but I can't wait. I solemnly vow to save myself for her.
Adding to the maudlin tone is the reveal of the scope of Xavier's powers. They're like apocalyptic in this movie. Benign characters who offer a helping hand and a warm meal, as well as young children, are fair game in the overall carnage of this movie. There's a pervading tone of dystopic futility throughout the narrative, as if a wave in this bleak future has come to wipe out everything that represented the status quo of mutant kind. And as it goes for mutants, so might it go for actual humankind on a metaphorical context. The X-Men have always represented the least of us by proxy. And like I said, this movie reminded me of The Road, And the ending of this movie is in some ways a direct lift from that movie. But all credit to director James Mangold, because his direction makes this an intense character piece. It's as if he decided he wasn't going to make a comic book movie. Rather, he wanted to go deep into a character study about a man who can't escape who or what he is, no matter how much he tries, and he knows his days are numbered. This is a great turn by Jackman, not even necessarily as the Wolverine, but as that classic Western tragic hero, akin to John Wayne's The Shootist, Shane, or any gunslinger who cannot shake his identity despite his attempts to obscure himself and is challenged every step of the way. That theme is central to the movie and makes it such a brilliantly depressing movie. It's not without flaws though. There are times when the movie really drags. The editing isn't as sharp and some scenes run a bit long. Characters both new and old are dispatched unceremoniously. Some of them, I think, are deserving of a better ending. And speaking of endings, the finale of this movie seems a little lazy. While I expected certain events to happen at the conclusion, they still seem tacked on, and then the movie ends, leaving a major narrative element dangling, in my opinion. But putting that aside, the tone, the atmosphere, the grit, the presence of this film cannot be denied. Like I said, I found it a bit depressing and demoralizing. But the thing is, I believe that was how Mangold wanted me to feel, and he succeeded. This is a film worth going to see, and I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And that's the Martini. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you agreed or even if you disagreed, please leave your comments below. But most of all, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel, realqstorm.com. Check out some of my older movie reviews, my product reviews, my political videos, and let me know what you think. realqstorm.com.